Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we look at the Team Vanilla that was produced by the traders and see my review on it and whether I dislike some of the players that have been selected. So remember to like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on down there to keep up to date when new videos are released. So up on screen we have the team that they put out as I believe it's the most selected team from the initial drafts from most people. Now let's go through the defenders here. So in that D1 spot they have Sam Doherty. Now, if I could squeeze another 200k to possibly get out of one of Young or Dacos, I would do it for Doherty, but it's just 970k means that he's coming in at around like 110 average, meaning he doesn't have much to grow, and if he does fall back to that 100 average, then it really does decrease value in the team, and he falls from that D1 spot to that like D2, D3, which you really cannot have. In D2 spot, they have Jordan Dawson, who's another guy that you're just looking to have at that D1, D2 spot for the whole season. He's going to average possibly 105 or so. He is now in his second year, going into his second year at the Crows, so he should know the system better, and he should be playing off that halfback and wing role that he's used to. So hopefully, for the sake of people who pick him, he will keep that 105 or so average. I just don't like him, as I think there's better value options, and there's an ability to go a lot deeper in the midfield if you take him out and drop him down to a slightly less player and gamble that they're going to get another 10 or so average and get close to him. So the likes of Hayden Young, I think, will get close to his average, and saving that 100k, I can get another player in here, another 700k player here, and shift these all and get another rookie on the bench rather than on field. James Sicily, I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and they basically said that with Hawthorn being as bad as they're going to be next year, they don't think they're going to be as competitive. James Sicily will have a lot more of the ball down back, which should increase his scores, but he will have games that he has to take on that, as being the older player, the more mature player, he has to take that matchup that will absolutely burn around where he gets a 40 or a 50. So he's a dangerous one. I don't think he'll average the 96 that he got. He won't go above that, at least by much. He might average 100, but that's not going to be good enough, I don't think, for the price that you're paying, especially with Dacos and Hayden Young projected to get around to that 100 mark and saving you 175k. Elliot Yeo, a guy that I think he's great value. Ruben Jinby, again, a rookie that is odds on, probably one of the most locked players, except for Will Ashcroft for round 1. So just a great defender rookie, should get much time on the wing, in the actual midfield, and on that halfback role for West Coast. Should average, I would expect, in the 70s probably. Campbell Chesser, odds on to not be a round 1 player now, so probably bench to bring him in the first couple of rounds when he does get that definite debut. But still a great 200k is going to be great for him when he does get a game, once he fully recovers from his injury and gets some good game time. Dossie Wilmot should be playing round 1, I believe, after playing in the finals last year. He averaged, I believe he had a couple of scores of 60 in the finals, so that should be a good option. I have him on field at the moment at that, I believe, D6 role, so should be a good just value option. Should get some good value, trade him out once he gets up to that 400k or so, and then get a mid-pricer to, or get up to a actual premium defender to try and get a good 20 to 22 premiums as early as possible. Will Gould, as a Sydney fan, I just don't think he gets a game. I think you have Aaron Francis ahead of him as well now in the pecking order. So he's probably 4 or so deep out of getting into that defensive role now for the Sydney Swans. So I just don't think he gets a game. And I think there's 5 or 6 other guys that are defenders that could easily come in for him. If I flick back over to my AFL Fantasy, you will see in my defenders and favourites, I have the likes of Luke Connolly in here as he could play. Also, if you look at positions here, you'll see I have not as many defenders down, but there, if you look at defenders and you look at all prices, 200k, I've been speaking with the Ball Boys. Remember to drop them a follow as well, or subscribe down there to them. And they were interested in a couple of these guys. Warner could get a game here. You've also got the likes of Fahey. He could be on for a game as he looks pretty good. I don't think any of the Sydney boys will get a game. Allison probably will get a game once he is fit. So he probably comes in as a defensive rookie, as a tall forward / ruckman. He should be getting a game once around that round 10, so he could be the 1 up, 1 down in the buys or just before it. We have here not many other, maybe Fleeton gets a game just because GWS are going to be absolutely terrible this year. Dean could get another game. Kelly, and then you get to some of these guys. Durden, if he gets a game back into the Carlton lineup, but that would be with injuries or not. And then you start getting up to these guys that are Vickery could get a game for the Swans, but I just doubt that he will be too much of value. Michelini could very well get a game, but you're starting to get to that point where you need them to average another 5 or 10 on top of that. And yeah, that's all the real rookie defenders. So if we flick back over now to this team, you'll see in the midfield, Touk. I don't have him, but that's pretty much Zach Merritt Touk. You know, he's a very good player. I just think for that 24k, I can get something else onto the ground as well. McRae, I went for Bont instead, as I believe McRae could easily still play that half-forward split, which is just not good for his fantasy. Tom Mitchell, you just have to go with him. Dom Sheed again, he's another guy I would probably rather in this M5 role than this M4, but I can understand if you wanted to go more deeper in the you wanted to go for more of those definite premium players to get a Dom Sheed in there rather than having one slot lower, as I've gone for a real midfield bias in my my fantasy team. Warple, another good, most likely a good pick. I've seen people saying that he won't even be in the 22, which I just don't agree with. I think he will be in their best 22, and he will be playing a very high percentage of midfield minutes. Ashcroft and Phillips, again, another 2 players I selected in my team. They're pretty much go-tos at the price range that they are. Wardlaw, I can see it being there, but I just think with my team especially, I don't think a player I can really fit a 294k player on the bench when there's a lot more value, especially in Johnson. Johnson is a player I've been mulling over and could easily do something like a sin to and take out Van Rooyen for Johnson, so that Van Rooyen's going to get points and value, but it's not going to be as quick as the likes of a Johnson who's playing in the midfield if he does get that debut instead of Erasmus. Sardis, I just don't think it's as good value, to be honest. He might even not play. And then you got the two rucks, as I explained in my last video. English is a guy that I could use if I do a similar thing to this. This will be actually pretty much, instead of Taranto put in Canelio. If who is it? If Meek is not named, this will pretty much be my rucks and my forward line for next season, for the start of the season, as Sheezer will come into that F5 role and McLean will be that F4. Those Canelio at that F2 and Rosie F3, Dunks F1, and these will be my 2 rucks, and Philippi will be that value pick here. Then Samson Ryan is just basically pick the ruck that's going to be playing, or pick a guy that is odds on to get a debut early in the season, but is that available vice captaincy type or captain's role, so that you could get your vice captain points. Then you got Sin, Pedler, 2 guys that I have good picks. I think they will get a round 1 debut. And then you have Edwards here, who I just don't see him having a game, but it's another second, third ruckman that could easily get a game. And just he won't get the complete value, as he probably tops out around 40 or 50. But at 200k, that's pretty much double value. So he will gain value pretty much. It's almost guaranteed that he'll gain value at 200k. So yeah, that's my review of this team. You see 87k in the bank. That is similar to mine. I have 73k left, meaning that there is some movement. If a dom sheet or something goes down, you can shift things around to get better players in those mid prices. You have a little bit of leeway. I do think this team goes a little bit top heavy and isn't very good mid ground, like the mid prices, and only have Elliot Yeo, Dom Sheed, Warple, and Tobin McLean. So it is very likely that those boys do you do have some options left in Salem and Gota and stuff, people that I've talked about, even going up to the likes of Rowbottom in my team. So there is a little bit of movement, but I just think there's too much reliance on the big players going absolutely huge for you to lose some points early ground in this team. But that's my opinion, and remember to like and subscribe down below as we get this channel growing. And if you want to see my opinion on the other players that I haven't mentioned here, like Canelio, Rosie and stuff, the players that are in both teams, remember to go up to the video up there. Thanks and goodbye.